Hello friends. So today we are going to dive into string view and understand how it makes our C++ code more efficient. We are going to look at some visualization when it comes to string construction and string view construction from a memory perspective, and then we are going to dive into a simple example where we'll make use of standard string views. My goal for this video is to hopefully make you all understand how string view works and how it can make your code more efficient so that you guys can apply it in your code base. Alright, without any further ado, let's dive into it.
Imagine you just created a standard string. Let's call it stir and let's give it a value hello, right? For this string, when it's fully constructed, right, three events happen. Number one, memory was allocated, heap memory. The second event is where your literal value, right, the literal value of the string gets copied into the memory. And the third event that happens is the standard string class's internal data gets initialized, right? As the third event. This is the second event. Now, imagine a use case where you want to just view this string, right? You don't want to make a copy. You don't want to be able to edit it. You just want to view this string, right? This is where standard string view comes into picture. Standard string view is an object that allows you to view a string that's in the memory without making any copies. So you basically avoid making a copy. It it does not allow you to modify the data. So it won't allow you to modify this data. It only gives you like read-only access, right? And you think of it as like a non-owning reference, right? It doesn't own the string. There's no memory associated here. It just gives you a window into the string, right? And the way string view works internally is it has a pointer, right? A pointer to the first character of the string, and it knows about the size of the string, so number of characters in the string, right? String views come in really handy when you want to pass strings to a function, right, and avoid making copies. Right? If you're not going to modify the string in the function, why make copies of it, right? You can just pass in string view. So let's look at an example next.
Alright, so let's write a really simple program here, right? Let's say we construct a string called, let's call it artificial intelligence, right? Let's make a function called make substar, right? And let's pass this string into it. What make substar does is it simply makes a substring, right? So let's make it take in a string. Let's call it arg. It will make a substring from arg. So let's do arg.substar and let's parse out. So this artificial is 10 characters, right? So let's do 10 and then let's call another function called print substar, passing it the substring that we just created. And this function will simply print to the output, right? So let's pass it a string and then let's just see out to output, right? So nothing simple. We have a main. We created a string here, passed it to make substar. Make substar takes in the string, calls substar on the string, takes out characters 0 to 10, calls print substar, and that prints to the arc. Let's run this. Hopefully we should see artificial on the output. That's great. But now let's think about what happened here, right? When on line 16, when we created this string, we actually made a copy, right? This is our first copy. Then when we pass this string to the make substar function, we are again making a copy here. So this is our second copy, right? On line 10, when we call the substar function, we make our third copy. Remember, substar, if you look up the documentation, returns the required characters and makes a copy of those characters, right? So you basically end up getting a copy of your required characters, right? And when you pass the string here to print substar, you're making a fourth copy. So in total, this function is making 4 copies of a string. And if you think about it, we haven't modified the string, right? We haven't changed its value. All we are doing is we want a substar and we want to print it, right? So basically the point here is, if you're in a situation like I am here right now, right, where you don't have to change the original string, just use string views, right, and save yourself some copy chaos, right? So if I make this a string view, I first avoid making a copy here. So let's remove this comment. I can make this a string view and avoid making another copy. So when I'm passing this string to this function, I can pass it as a string view. When I make a substar, I can use string views again, and that's the best part about string views. So when you're making substar, you don't end up making a copy, you're just getting the required characters. And here, where we're making the fourth copy, we can pass it as a string view as well, right? So hopefully if I run this, we should see the same behavior. There you go. Guys, so the point here is, if you're going to pass strings to a function, right, without any intention to modify or change them in any way, just use string views, right, and avoid making the copies. This will make your programs way more efficient. You will save tons of memory, and at the same time you will achieve your goal.
We wrap up, there's one thing I wanted to make you all aware of, right? Let's say we have a string, and let's say we have a string view, right? This string view is pointing to this string, right? So basically it's pointing to the first character of this string, right? Now, if this string goes out of scope, the string view is no longer valid, right? If the original string that the string view is pointing to goes out of scope, the string view becomes invalid. So then if you try to access the string view, you will get undefined behavior, right? Because the string view doesn't directly own the data. It only has a view of that data, right? There is no memory associated with it. So if the original string goes out of scope, the string view is going to become invalid. And if you then try to access it, you're going to see undefined behavior, right? So hopefully guys, you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave your comments in the section below, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.